So I'm asking you, as a Muslim, is there anywhere in the Quran where it says Jesus sinned or asked forgiveness for sin? Very simple question. It's yes or no.
Okay, so again, I'll say it again.
Yes or no.
Don't cut me, okay?
No. Yes or no. I don't have time to waste. Yes or no.
You came ask.
Some people don't need more evidence, they need less pride. This video showcases why arguing some Muslims is really a waste of time, because it's not an intellectual problem, it's a problem with their hardened heart. Anyways, let's get into this video. I hope you enjoyed.
Can I say something?
Just answer my question and you can say whatever you want after. Is Muhammad a sinner, yes or no?
Sinner in what way?
Has he sinned?
Sinner in what way?
Has he sinned at all, in any way? Small, big, tall, short, skinny? Has he sinned?
Was Jesus a sinner?
It's not my question, man.
Yeah, but why don't you answer?
Because answer my question, then I'll answer you.
Thank you.
Is Muhammad a sinner? Did he sin in a small way, big way, short way, tall way, skinny way, fat way?
When I answer, will you allow me to ask the question? Or
If you answer my question, I will answer yours. If you don't answer my question, I ain't answering nothing.
Okay, so first of all, we have to differentiate between large sins and small sins, okay? Muhammad, just like Jesus.
No.
1 second,
Big sins and small sins. No. I just want everybody to remember this.
I didn't finish. Yeah, they have brains, they remember. Don't cut me. Just like Jesus, when he called the woman a dog, Prophet Muhammad had, maybe, let's not call it a sin, but maybe, yeah, he made something that maybe something else was more right. Yeah, but, Jesus, he called the woman a dog. Is that a sin to you or no?
No, it's not.
It's not a sin?
No, she was a dog.
Being a racist is a sin?
No,
It's not
he's not a racist. The message
the woman was a dog.
Yeah, because she was outside of the covenant. Anybody that's outside of the covenant
This is
is a dog.
for you, my friend. Why are you going away?
Yeah,
You told me I will ask, I will talk.
No, because I'm talking now. You want to talk back? You want me to explain that? Or you just want to
No,
keep...
was that a sin?
No,
Right
it
or
wasn't.
wrong?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. So it's
Anybody outside of the covenant is a heathen. Just like
Okay,
you talk
so-
about
so-
kafir. When Muhammad talks about kafir, is it a sin? He's calling people outside the covenant. He's calling them
You
kafir.
don't call them dogs.
Is that a sac? Is
You don't call
kafir?
them dogs.
Is calling someone a kafir a sin? Yes or no?
It's a description, like I'm a kafir to you. What
What does a kafir mean?
Someone who doesn't believe in my belief. What's wrong with that?
Good. In the
Am I a
vernacular of the
kafir to you or
first
no?
century, a dog is
Am
someone outside
I a
the covenant.
kafir? Am I a kafir?
Yeah, of course
to you?
you're a kafir.
Okay, so what's
You're a
wrong
dog.
with that?
You're a dog right now.
Okay, so
Outside the kingdom of heaven are dogs.
That's Christian love for you people.
Okay.
Whoever is not on their side, they'll call them dogs. They will kill them. They'll do whatever. Now,
What?
No. You want to know Islamic life? Islamic
Jesus
life
a
says
sinner?
you're allowed to beat your
You
wife.
don't even know
Muhammad
your religion.
married a
You don't
six-year-old.
even know your religion to tell me
Muhammad
about
was
my
a
religion.
pedophile.
You don't even
That's
know
Islamic
your
life.
religion.
Would you let your daughter, 6 years old, marry a 50-year-old
Why are
man?
you running? Why
Well,
are you
because you're
running?
coming too close
Why
to
are
me.
you
You might have
running?
COVID.
Yeah,
That's
because I
why.
need to speak.
No.
I
I don't
need
know
to
you.
speak.
You're spitting in my face, bro.
I need to speak.
Would you allow your
I need to
6-year-old
speak.
daughter to marry a
Why are you
50-year-old? Yes or
running?
no?
Why are you
Yes or no?
running? Why are you running?
No one's running. I'm
Why
just
are you
stepping away.
running? Yeah, okay, so
Let's go all day, bro.
Let me speak.
We're talking about Christian life and Islamic life. Would you let your kid, 6-year-old, marry a 50-year-old? Yes or no?
How old was Mary when she was married to Joseph, my friend?
Nobody knows. The only tradition talks
How old
about
was-
that. Nobody knows.
Yeah, but what does
Mary
Bible
was
say?
at least 12 years old.
Yeah, so 12 is okay?
At least, yes.
Yeah, 12 is
because she
okay.
passed puberty. But 6-year-old, she didn't pass puberty.
She wasn't.
Why are you letting a
six.
6-year-old?
She wasn't even 6. You don't
No,
even
she
know
was
what
12.
you're
No,
talking
she
about.
was 6. Of course she was
wasn't
6.
6. No, she
Okay,
wasn't.
how old was she? Tell me.
Okay, so she was at least 9, and that was after puberty as well. So if it's okay for Mary, it's okay for
So you would let your 9-year-old marry a 50-year-old?
And you would let your 12-year-old marry.
Marry what?
Yeah,
How
marry
old is Joseph? Nobody knows.
Hold on, guys. This Muslim here is making a really bold claim. He's saying she's not 6. That's a complete lie. Too bad your own hadiths disagree with you. Let's go through them together. Not some random Christian source. These are their sources, the Islamic sources. So we have Sahih al-Bukhari, volume 7, book 62, narrated Aisha, the Prophet married me when I was 6 years old, and he consummated the marriage when I was 9 years old. And by the way, Sahih al-Bukhari is the most trusted hadith collection in Sunni Islam. Next we have Sahih Muslim, book 8, hadith 3310. Aisha, Allah be pleased with her, reported Allah's apostle married me when I was 6 years old, and I was admitted to his house at the age of 9. That hadith is reported in multiple chains multiple times. There is no contradiction in the earliest Islamic sources. The only contradiction is modern Muslims like this guy trying to clean up their prophet's image because they know how repulsive it sounds today. You want more proof? Islamic scholars through the centuries affirmed it. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, a 14th century scholar, confirmed the same ages in his commentary on Sahih Bukhari. So don't lie to people and say Aisha wasn't 6 if you're ashamed of what your sources say. Maybe that tells you something. Don't attack Christianity to cover your own prophet's history. Let's get back in the video.
Yeah, he was 90 something.
That's what they say, but there's no proof of
Okay,
that.
so what do you say?
But we know that Muhammad is over 50.
What do you know? Yeah.
We know that a 50-year-old
And
married a
Joseph was
6-year-old.
Let me just say one point.
How many Muslims would let
And
their
Joseph-
6-year-old daughter marry a 50-year-old? Put up your hand.
It's not. She's not 6.
We have a lot of Muslims in this crowd
She's not 6.
following the pattern of
She's not
Muhammad.
6. She's not 6.
Let's put par for par.
She's not 6.
You said this
Why
is
are you afraid?
Christianity.
Why are you afraid?
I'm not afraid. You're
You
just
want to
talking
talk
over
all
me,
day,
bro.
and then when I
No.
come to answer,
How
you
many
tell me-
Muslims here would let their 6-year-old daughter marry a 50-year-old? Put up your hand.
She was not.
No
6.
one.
Why nobody?
6. She
Why
was
nobody?
Not 6. She was not 6.
Okay, 9-year-old. How many of you would allow your 50-year-old to marry a 9-year-old? Put up your hand.
15-year-old.
Why no Muslim would follow Prophet Muhammad?
Bro, let me say. We are. That's.
You'd let your 9-year-old marry a 50-year-old?
One second.
He can't answer.
Hold on. Space here. I'm gonna give you back the mic now.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna hold it for you.
Okay, yeah, that's what you said. Okay, so the thing is, these people don't know anything. If you go to England 300 years ago, not 1400 years ago, William Blackstone, take a look at his book. He's a judge in England. It's not like 7th century Arabia, it's in England. Take a look at his book, commentaries of the laws of England and 1700. Guess what's the age for people to get married at that time? It's 7. It's not even 9, it's 7. And that's in England, the ones we are following in the thing. And that's 1700, not 1400 years ago.
What are you talking about, bro?
I'm talking about something.
Marrying 6-year-olds? No, I actually
7 years old. It's in England, 1700s.
I don't care what people did. Your prophet,
So what do you care
setting the
about?
final standard for all time, married a 6-year-old, and no Muslim would follow him.
Do you have something else to talk about, man?
No, we could talk about more. We could talk about
Yeah.
ayahs where it
Yeah,
says
but
in
the
Ali
thing is-
Imran chapter 3 verses 106, it says on the day when some faces will be whitened and some faces will be blackened, as for those faces who have been blackened, it will be said unto them, disbelieve you after your belief. Then taste the punishment of those that disbelieve. And on the day of resurrection, Muhammad sees those who lied concerning Allah with their faces blackened. What this says, and we can go into Mishkat al-Masiba, it says, and he struck his left shoulders and brought forth his offspring black, as though they were charcoal. Then he said, the party on the right to paradise, and I do not care. And he said to the party in his left shoulder to hell, and I do not care. That means Muhammad was a racist. He had a problem with black people, according to this. Is that Islam?
Are you done?
I'm done. Is that Islam?
Okay, so first of all, Doug,
Why in the Arabic world are people?
are you gonna let me
people
talk or no?
have a problem with
Are
black
you gonna
people?
let me talk?
They
or
still
no?
call black people slaves in the Arabic world. There's a big racist problem in
Are you
Arabic
gonna let me talk or
countries.
no? Are you
Yeah,
gonna let me
I'm
talk
just
or
saying
no?
the truth. Why is that?
but
And where did it come from?
Where is my turn in talking?
Go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, don't cut.
All right, David is not entirely right here. I speak Arabic, so let me tell you the truth, not from Google, but from the real language and real culture. The first line David quoted, Surah 106, where it says, faces will be blackened. Yes, that's actually metaphorical in Arabic. When we say someone's face is blackened, it means they're disgraced, ashamed, or humiliated. So that's not about skin color. That's just classical Arabic expression. But David wasn't wrong in calling out racism, because the second part he brought up, that's not metaphor. That's literal. He quoted the hadith where Muhammad said, Allah struck the left shoulder of Adam and brought forth his offspring, and they were black as charcoal. That's from Musnad Ahmad and Abu Dawood, respected hadith collections. It literally says black as charcoal. That's not poetry, that's skin color. And he says those are the people of hell. David also brought up something Arabs don't like talking about, but I'll say it because it's the truth. Yes, in Arabic cultures, abd, which literally means slave, is still used today to refer to black people. I've heard it, I've seen it. Not every Arab says it, but many do, and it's disgusting. Let's continue.
First of all, going to the first point, I'll address your second point, but that's the thing about you people. First of all, 2 minutes ago.
Don't say you people. My name is David.
David.
So what do you want me to say? You want me to say you people too? You guys are all terrorists? You want me to say that?
I didn't say anything.
So who's you people?
I meant you, David, okay? That's the thing about David. One second. 2 seconds ago, he was okay with Jesus calling the woman dog, and he said it's not racist, and it was really nice to him.
Absolutely.
Once it came on his turn, oh my God, that's racist, and all of that, all of that thing. So again, for you, for marriage, it's not about age. You can be 18 and you're not ready to marry. So for marriage, okay, so at least we're doing something. So for marriage, there has to be physical maturity and spiritual maturity. First of all, Aisha was, engaged to someone who was not Muslim, so that was okay in the culture. That was even before the Prophet, engaged her. That's one thing. So was she spiritual mature? Yes, because the area, everyone over there, that was the normal age for everyone. You know, there were many bad people who hated Islam more than you. They couldn't say anything about it. You know why? Because it was normal at that time. Regarding the physical maturity, now they were engaged at 6, and then they committed the marriage at 9.
So 6 is a real number.
Don't cut me, okay? Don't be a coward, don't cut me. When I'm done, I listen to you, listen to me, okay? So now they could have waited. If she wanted 10 years to be mature, they could have waited. They waited until she was physically mature, and that was the time it was needed. So for marriage, it's not about age. Today, 18 years old, some of them are not ready for marriage. So for marriage, it's physical maturity and spiritual maturity, and both of them were done. So the marriage was right, and even the ones who hate Islam more than you couldn't say anything about that time. Because as I told you, not only in Islam, 17th century, United Kingdom, the age was 7 for marriage, so that's not a problem, okay? Today it is, I'm not saying no, it's not okay, but the norm at that time was something it's okay, that's okay. Okay, that's the first point. Now getting to your second point, okay? I didn't listen most of what you said, but what I'm saying is, in Islam, we have clear hadiths that says no one is better than anyone other than with piety. An Arab is not better than an Arab other than with piety, and a black is not, or a white is not ever a black except with piety, okay? So whatever you say, that's up to you, okay? But now, come back to my original question where you address, is it okay for you to call people dogs, and when they call you something, you don't like it, why is that? Is it okay for you, not okay for some other people? I'm done.
Like I said, the vernacular in that time, they understood what that meant. If you're outside the covenant, you're a dog. Why? Because you've rejected God. You're a kafir. So if that doesn't help you, it wasn't a sin. It was the vernacular of today. So that's the answer.
Yep.
But one thing I am going to say.
Everyone can say the same thing.
Of course, everyone can say the same thing.
So are you mad about it?
No, you're the one. You're the one who. Listen, you keep cutting me off. I listened to you very fair and square. You came up to me and I asked you a very simple.
for Muslims.
I asked you a very simple question. You're cutting me off again.
I'm just.
You're cutting me off again.
Same fact.
You're cutting me off again.
Say the.
Are you going to listen or no?
I'm listening, but don't say.
Don't be a coward. Listen.
I'm not.
Okay, then listen. I listened to you. Did I not?
Yeah, sure, but
Okay.
don't say bad.
So my
bad
question
things.
was Muhammad a sinner, yes or no? And you went on this whole spiel and said, well, there's big sins and small sins, and then you brought it over to Jesus, and then you brought up whether him calling someone a dog is an issue, and I told you no, and I explained myself. Now, going back to the original question, is Muhammad a sinner, yes or no?
Yeah, I answered that. I told you every man has a sin, either small or young, just as Jesus sinned. Prophet Muhammad may have done wrong things that he should have, but not big things like you do, or I do, or any other person do. He might have made small mistakes. So what? Every man sins,
Okay,
just like Jesus.
Okay, so where does God say in the Quran or the Bible that Jesus ever sinned?
Okay, so let me get this straight. First of all, don't tell me God in the Bible. The Bible, the ones you have today, you don't even know who wrote it.
That's not my question.
Yeah, but
Show me one scripture, ayah, verse, scripture in the Quran or the Bible or anywhere where Jesus sinned.
Okay, so again, don't cut me. You're telling me, show me a verse by the God in the Bible. What I'm telling
Forget
you.
the Bible then. Quran. Where did Allah in the Quran say Jesus sinned?
Okay, so first of all, I never said Jesus sinned according to the Quran. I said Jesus sinned according to the Bible that you say the word.
Forget about the Bible. You said forget about the Bible. Let's
So
go
you
to the
don't believe
Quran.
in the Bible?
No, let's go to the Quran.
You
Did
don't believe in the
Allah
Bible?
say anywhere for Jesus to ask forgiveness for his sin or he has sinned? Yes or no?
Well, guess what? The Bible, the Quran is not the biography of Jesus to tell you whatever he did was right or wrong. But that's not the thing. I'm telling you, all men committed sin. Even if the Bible, you say it's holy, you say it's from God. In the Bible, he called the thing.
You're
he called
skirting around
woman-
the issue.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
I just asked you a simple
Even-
question.
even-
Quran, forget Bible because you don't believe in it. Does your Quran?
don't.
Of course you don't. I don't believe in the
course I
Quran. It has no verification.
Yeah,
but
sure.
the issue here is whether your God in your book has ever asked Jesus to ask forgiveness for his sin, or he said, Jesus, you sinned. A very simple question, because I can show you verses where it said Muhammad sinned. I can show you verses where Ibrahim sinned. I can, in the Quran, in Moses sinned, Adam sinned, everybody else. But you just can't find one about Jesus. So I'm asking you, as a Muslim, is there anywhere in the Quran where it says Jesus sinned or asked forgiveness for sin? Very simple question. It's yes or no.
Okay, so again, I'll say it again.
Yes or no.
Don't cut me, okay?
No.
Very
Yes
weak,
or no. I
very
don't have
weak.
time to waste. Yes or no.
You came ask for Muslims. Now, when Muslims come and they make you look bad, You
How
say
are
I
you
don't
making
have-
me look bad? You're
Yeah,
looking bad. You can't even answer the
no.
question. Yes
I
or no?
am. I answered it.
Can you find any ayah in the Quran where Jesus sinned or asked forgiveness for sin? Yes or no?
Okay, so I said it before. I'll say it again. The Quran is not the biography of Jesus to say when he
Okay.
sinned or not.
Did I answer ask the question clearly, or do I need to be a little more clear? It's a yes or no question.
It's a
Wrong
wrong
question.
question. Yeah,
It's a wrong question. Okay.
It's a
So
wrong
what?
question.
Notice what's happening right here now, guys. David is asking him a very simple question. Does the Quran say Jesus sinned? Yes or no? And this guy, he's going around in circles. He won't answer why because he knows the second he says no, his whole argument is going to collapse. If the Quran never says Jesus sinned, then why did he bring up the accusations that Jesus committed sin by calling a woman a dog? He's grasping at straws here, trying to bring Jesus down to Muhammad's level. But here's what the Quran actually says. Surah 19:19, Jesus is called Zakiyan, which means pure, sinless, blameless. That word is never used for Muhammad. Meanwhile, Allah tells Muhammad in Surah 47:19, seek forgiveness for your sins. He says the same thing in Surah 48:2. Let that sink in. So this dude is claiming Jesus sinned, where his own prophet is the one being told to ask for forgiveness. So again, he dodged the question because answering it would expose his double standard. He wants to accuse Jesus, but his own book protects Jesus and exposes Muhammad. That's why he can't say yes, and that's why he can't say no, because either way, this crushes his position. Let's get back into it.
What should the question be?
Okay, so you told me about Jesus sinning. I told
What should the question be?
Well, get me the biography of Jesus, just like it's in the Bible. I'll get you his mistakes. Okay. That's
So
the
you're
thing.
telling me that the Quran's not complete?
The Quran is not a complete biography of Jesus. You know that Jesus is not the center of the Quran. So
I love that. That's why the Quran needs the Bible. At the end of the day, that's why the Bible says to Muhammad in Surah chapter 10, verses 94, if you're in doubt concerning anything revealed therein, no, I'm reading your verse, ask the people of the book, the Jews and the Christians. And I will tell you what the book says. The book says in Hebrews chapter 4, verses 15, that we have a high priest who was tempted in every way and yet without sin. So we have a Muslim admitting that the Quran
Amen.
is incomplete. It is not the complete thing. That's why every Muslim says, they say in vernacular, we must believe in the Torah. We must believe in the Zabur. We must believe in the Injil, which demonstrates that what they have is not the Torah, not the Zabur, not the Injil. You can't say that the Quran is a complete book when it's not. It doesn't even have the 10 commandments. It doesn't even explain, according to this guy, Jesus's life. So we need more than the Quran. That's why we are handing out free Bibles at the Bible booth. Free information about Jesus. You want to know about Jesus? You're not going to find the story, according to this Muslim, the full story about Jesus. It's an incomplete story. The complete story, you want to understand what the Word of God means? Look at John chapter 1 and 1. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. You're not going to hear the full story from the Quran, according to this Muslim. It is incomplete. You're not going to know about whether Jesus sinned or didn't sin, except reading the Bible. You're not going to understand the meaning of the Messiah until you read the Bible. You're not going to really know if he died on the cross or resurrected properly unless you read the Bible. All you get is Cole's Notes versions in the Quran. It's a very small book, picking pieces here and there. It's not even chronological in the same place. You hear one thing here, one thing there, one thing here, and it's confusing. Why? Because the devil is the author of confusion, but God is the author of order. And if you want order, if you want truth, Jesus said it very clearly. I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. No one comes to God, John chapter 14 and 6 and 7, except by me. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father.
Why or no?
You can reply, sure.
Thank you. Okay, so will I take the same time you talk to?
No, it's my mic.
Okay, so
I will choose.
yeah, but that's not fair.
Of course, it's not fair. No, it's not.
Yeah, sure.
It's my mic.
Yeah, sure.
If you want to preach, you can go to the Islamic booth and preach.
Okay, so don't call Muslims. Don't put them in your.
I asked you a question, you couldn't answer, so we're done.
I did.
Your prophet is not the final standard. No other Muslim would follow his pattern. Number one,
every Muslim
you've already
follows
admitted
it.
that the
Every
Quran
Muslim
doesn't have a
follows it.
complete version of Jesus.
Even
And you can't even answer. And you've answered my question. Muhammad is a sinner. Thank you. That was my question. That was my question.
I never said that. But
Now, if you want to start preaching,
let me.
I will let you respond to me, but you're not going to take my mic and start preaching.
I'm not preaching. I'm just correcting you.
Go ahead.
Okay. So first of all, now you're saying whatever is in the Bible. Which Bible you say? Dude, you don't even know who the father of Joseph is. In one Bible, it's Eli. In the other Bible, it's some other guy. You don't even know who the thing is. Which Bible are you talking about? Which Bible are you talking about? You don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even know who authored the Bible. Who's Luke?
You don't even know what you're talking about. You
Yeah,
already
who's
said
Luke?
you already said that the Quran is incomplete. So you don't even know what you're talking about.
I never said that. I
Of
never
course, you
said
said it's not the biography of Jesus. You don't
of
even know
course,
whether
dude.
Jesus sinned or not.
Yeah, Jesus-
I asked you a very simple question. Does the Quran say Jesus sinned or asked forgiveness? And you were stuttering and you were saying it's not a biography of Jesus. That means it's incomplete.
Can I answer?
Absolutely.
This dude really just said who wrote Luke, who wrote the Bible. Now, this part just cracks me up. Who wrote the Bible and who's Luke? Bro, coming from someone whose own religion can't name a single eyewitness author of the Quran, that's just embarrassing. Because Luke, he was a traveling companion of Paul, a physician and an educated Greek speaker. He wasn't just a nobody. He wrote both the Gospel of Luke and the Book of Acts. And guess what? He actually says why he wrote it in Luke 1, verses 1 to 4. He says, I myself have carefully investigated everything from the beginning so that you may know the certainty of the things you have been taught. So you hear that? He investigated, recorded eyewitness testimony, and wrote it down carefully. That's called historical method, something your religion desperately lacks. Now, let's talk about the Quran here. Who wrote it? You don't know. You say it was revealed to Muhammad, but he couldn't read or write. So who compiled it? Was it Zayd ibn Thabit under Abu Bakr? Or was it Uthman later who burned all the other copies? And guess what? The Quran never claims to be written down by Muhammad. And not one single verse tells you which companions memorized what or who exactly wrote it word for word. No isnad, no eyewitnesses, just oral sayings collected later and then standardized by force and by burning all other variants. So you're mocking Luke, a guy who gives you his name, motive, and method, but you trust a book compiled decades later from unknown scribes of a man who's long dead? You don't know who wrote the Quran, how it was transmitted, or why surahs got abrogated and removed. You just accept it because it's the word of Allah. So let's be real here. Don't throw stones at the Bible when your own house is made of glass.
Okay, so Jesus is just like any other prophet, just like David, just like Moses.
To you.
No, I'm just saying whatever the truth is. Okay, you don't like it, then you don't like it. But my point is, Jesus is like any other prophet. So if you want the biography of Jesus in the Quran, every other prophet will be in the Quran. Okay, and then it will be endless. The Quran has
How many prophets are there in the Quran?
25 are mentioned.
25 are mentioned. How many prophets are mentioned in total in the Quran?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Like there's
Understand
a
English?
couple 100,000, right? Or thousands.
Where's that in the Quran? Now you're the expert.
No,
Show me.
I'm asking you.
No, I'm answering you.
Okay, yeah,
25 are mentioned in the Quran.
Are there more prophets? Because apparently a prophet was sent to every nation, and I know there's more than 300 nations in the world. Does not your Quran say there was prophets sent to every nation? You're a Muslim. You should just verify.
You
it very
understand
quickly.
English, my friend? So I'm telling you, the ones mentioned by name in the Quran are 25.
Are there other prophets? Because you just
Yeah,
said.
yeah, sure.
Okay, so that was a very simple answer.
Yeah, sure.
So you
Because
just
it was a
said
simple
all the
answer.
prophets are their life and whatever you said there is mentioned in the Quran, and there's a lot of prophets that were not mentioned in the Quran. You see
That
what I'm
makes my
saying?
point. That makes my
How
point.
does that make your point?
That the Quran is not the biography of prophets. Okay, it's sent for some people of that age. We get from the other prophets what's needed for us. The other things are not mentioned as, you know, for every other prophet. If it's not like a biography of whoever did what or not. But now coming to your thing. So you quoted a verse and you lied in it. It never said Muslims are gonna be okay when they ask people of the book. It's saying you people are never gonna be correct unless you address your book. And that's the thing. If you look at the book, Jesus said, I can do nothing by myself, but the Father who tells me, he sent me. He's the only true God in the thing. And by the way,
You're jumping like 4 different topics. Like, what's your point right now?
okay, my point is, you're quoting the Bible. The Bible, first of all, you don't know who wrote it, you don't know who's Luke. And the Bible changes over time. Even at this time, we have so many different versions of the Bible. So I don't know why you place your salvation in a book that has contradictions that people can add to, that people can subtract to. And my last question, who's the father of Joseph?
Okay, so I'm going to get there to the father of
Yeah,
Joseph,
sure.
but I'm going to answer your question.
Yeah, sure.
Why is it for the last 2,000 years, every Christian...
Why don't you
Listen,
answer
I'm
that
answering
question?
this
Yeah.
one, and then we'll go to the next one. So why is it for the last 2,000 years, what we see is Christians still believing in the same thing? That Jesus died, was buried, and rose again. We still practice baptism, we still practice communion, and we still carry the same teaching for 2,000 years. That has not changed. The only thing that has changed is 600 years later, a guy in Mecca and Medina, who wasn't even there to even know the story of Jesus Christ, gets a revelation in a cave from an apparent angel Gabriel. He thought it was a demon to begin with. He goes to another Christian, to Waraka, to verify what he's experienced. And so Now this guy says, hey, you know what? I think what you experience is like
Answer
the
the question
prophets.
first.
I'm
Answer-
answering your question.
No,
So what I'm
answer the
trying to
question.
tell
He's
you,
the father of Joseph.
that's the second question. I'll get to the father of Joseph, but this is the first question. You're talking about the Bible. We have manuscripts dating as late as or as early as 150 BC. We just found that in 1947, the Dead Sea Scrolls. And we have thousands of manuscripts all throughout the world, found in Egypt, found all throughout the Mediterranean and all throughout Europe, that has been recorded and say the same story of Jesus Christ. And we have extra biblical accounts of the stories of Jesus Christ, and even the early church fathers have recorded portions of scripture. So even if you want to make an argument which Bible to use, we have record after record after record of the same stories, and it's the same in whatever Bible you want to use. And in regards to Joseph, I don't know the full lineage of Joseph except from what we see in the book of Matthew and book of Luke. And there's a lot of interpretations about that, whether or not he was a he married after he married Mary after, or which lineage it's following, whether it's Mary's or whether it's Joseph's. And there's a lot of understanding about that, and you can look it up for yourself. But there are two lineages, and the historical account, or what most people take, is that one is following the lineage of Mary and one is following the lineage of Joseph. And if you don't like that, and you want to dig deeper into it, you can. That's your answer. And us Christians keep those same lineages, those same genealogies in our Bible for the last 2,000 years, because we don't have a problem with it. We understand something you don't. Just like you have scriptures in the Quran,
explain it.
just like you have scriptures in the Quran that you require tasfir, proper interpretation. So let's go on next if you have a problem. Because the real problem is this. The real problem is, listen, the real problem is this. If you were to die today, sir, and stand before God, you would not know where you're going to go. You have no assurance of where you're going to go if you were to die today. And the reason being is because you have sin in your life. You have sin in your life, and Jesus Christ died for your sin.
We don't sin.
Jesus Christ died for your sin. And the reason why you have no assurance of salvation is because you reject the mercy of God. Now, my question for you is, will you receive the mercy of God? You can have all this knowledge in the world, but at the end of the day, you need the mercy of God, the forgiveness of God. And it's available through the mercy of God, who is Jesus Christ. Will you receive him, sir?
Okay, first of all, that was a terrible answer. Now, in the Bible, if you go to Matthew, you will see that Joseph is the son of Jacob, and he's a descendant of Solomon, son of David. Okay? Now, if you go to the same Bible, just go to Luke, you will see that Joseph is son of Heli. Okay? I don't know about you, but to me, that doesn't sound like Jacob. And he's the son of Nathan of David. So who's he a descendant of? Solomon or Nathan? And who's his father? Heli or Jacob? That's one point. Now, the other point you're saying about, all the other Bibles, whatever, all that stuff, interpretation in the Quran, that's something you need interpretation for, okay? But you don't find in the Quran two ayahs contradicting each other that you can even make it right, and then you tell me interpretation. That's not interpretation, that's you making up some religion, okay?
Did this guy just say you won't find two ayahs in the Quran contradicting each other? Wow. Let's actually test that. Surah chapter 2, 256 says, there is no compulsion in religion. Sounds peaceful, right? But then comes Surah 9, 5. It says, kill the polytheists wherever you find them. That's a direct command. So which one are we supposed to follow? You can't say, let there be no compulsion in religion, and then you get a divine order right after that says to kill the polytheists. Now, how do you think Muslim scholars explain this? Well, they say Surah 9 abrogates Surah 2. And boom, right there you have a clear contradiction, and they admit it. And this actually gets far worse. Let me show you something that most people have never heard, and Muslims won't bring it up unless they think you're clueless. Surah 21 for the Hafs versus the Warsh Quran. In the Hafs Quran, which is the most standard one used across the Muslim world, the verse says, he said, my Lord knows what is said. So it's the Prophet Muhammad speaking about Allah. But in the Warsh Quran, which is also officially printed and recited in places like North Africa, the exact same verse reads, say, my Lord knows what is said. Do you see the issue here? here? One says, he said, the other says, say. So in Hafs, Muhammad is speaking on his own, where in the Warsh, Allah is commanding him to speak. So who's talking? Is it Muhammad's words or is it Allah instructing him? Now this matters because especially when Muslims say every single word in the Quran came from Allah exactly as it was revealed. Well, both of those can't be right. And guess what caused the confusion? Tashkil. Early Qurans were written without vowels or diacritical marks. So when the word qala shows up, which means he said, or qul, say, the answer depends on which reciter you follow, not on what God said. And you know what's sad about this whole debate? David just looked this guy in the eyes and said, would you receive the mercy of God? And did you pick up what this guy did? Nothing. He went back to arguing about the lineage of Joseph. Man, Joseph's genealogy, that's where you're going to run to. David was talking about eternity salvation, about standing before a holy God. And this guy is stuck on, was it Eli or Jacob? And let's be real, the genealogy issue, it has answers. There are solid explanations. 2 lineages, one from Mary's side, one from Joseph's legal adoption. Or even the Levirate marriage law that creates dual lines. But is that really the issue here? Because if you dig into it, it's actually not. This guy doesn't have a genealogy problem. He has a heart problem. And that's why no argument here is going to convince him. Not even the best one. You could answer every hadith. You could break down every surah. You could unravel every textual variant. And still, it wouldn't move him. Because when someone is hardened, they don't want truth. They want excuses. So let me say this plain. Even if you solve the Joseph question right now, what changes? Jesus still fulfilled prophecy. He still lived the most righteous life history's ever recorded. He still died willingly for sinners. He still rose again. He's still the Son of Man riding the clouds in glory, and he's coming back again. That's the problem. Not Joseph, Jesus. And the more they avoid him, the more it proves what David said was right. They're rejecting mercy because they don't want to bow to the one who gives it. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Daily Pursuit of Truth. That's it for the conversation today with this Muslim and David. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And as always, keep pursuing truth and living for the one who is truth himself.